The massive alien warship hung in space like a dark moon above Earth. Inside its command chamber, Commander Velthar stood before a holographic display showing the blue planet below. His 4 eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he studied the primitive world. Around him, representatives from 12 different alien species waited for his command. "This will be simple," Velthar announced to the assembled council. "The humans have barely left their own planet. They fight among themselves with crude weapons. Their biology is weak. They die from the smallest injuries. 1 of our soldiers equals 1,000 of theirs." The other commanders agreed with clicking sounds and low rumbles. They had studied Earth from a distance. They saw cities that could be destroyed with single shots. They saw humans who needed constant food and water. They saw a species that seemed designed to fail. "Send the surrender demand," Velthar ordered. On Earth, in a military base deep beneath the mountains of Korea, Captain Minho stared at his computer screen. The translation software was still working on the alien message, but he already understood the tone. He had been a soldier for 15 years. He knew threats when he heard them. "Sir, the message is complete," said a young technician beside him. Minho read the words slowly. The aliens wanted Earth to surrender within 48 hours. They promised to make humans into workers for their empire. They said resistance was pointless. They said human weapons were toys compared to their technology. "Send this to command immediately," Minho said quietly. His face showed no emotion, but inside he felt something cold and hard settle in his chest. These aliens had made a mistake. They thought humans were weak. In another part of the base, Lieutenant Ji-won was listening to alien communications that Earth's satellites had intercepted. She wore headphones and typed quickly as the computer translated. What she heard made her blood run cold, then hot with anger. The aliens were laughing. They were making jokes about humans. One called them soft meat creatures. Another said, conquering Earth would be easier than their training exercises. They talked about human cities like a child talks about knocking down toy blocks. "They have never fought anyone like us," Ji-won whispered to herself. She pulled up historical files on her second screen. Earth's history was written in blood and war. Humans had fought each other for thousands of years. They had survived ice ages, plagues, and disasters that would have killed softer species. She began writing her report. The aliens needed to know something important about humans. Earth was not a gentle planet. It was a world of storms, earthquakes, diseases, and predators. Everything on Earth was designed by nature to survive or die. Humans had climbed to the top by being tougher than everything else. Above the planet, Velthar waited for Earth's response. He expected fear. He expected begging. He expected surrender. Instead, every screen in his command chamber suddenly lit up with the same image. A human face appeared. The man wore a military uniform. He spoke in clear, slow words that the translation computers easily understood. "To the alien fleet, we have received your demand. Our answer is no. We will not surrender. We will not serve you. If you attack us, we will defend ourselves. If you continue this path, you will regret it. This is your only warning. Leave now or face the consequences." The message ended. Silence filled the alien command chamber. Then Velthar began to laugh. The sound was like grinding metal. "They warn us? They threaten us? These primitive creatures dare to refuse?" He turned to his weapons officer. "Begin the attack in 48 hours as planned. They have chosen death." On Earth, every government had received the same information. In Korea, Japan, America, Europe, Africa, and everywhere else, leaders made the same decision. They would fight. Minho was called to an emergency meeting. Generals and scientists filled the room. Everyone looked tired and angry. "We have 2 days," the lead general said. "The aliens think we are weak. They think our weapons are useless. They are wrong, but we must be smart. We cannot meet them in open space battle. We will lose that fight." "Then we change the rules," said an older woman in a scientist's coat. "We make them fight our way. We use every advantage we have." Plans began to form. Minho listened and added his own ideas. The aliens expected honor in battle. They expected clean fights. They would not get that from humans. Jiwon brought her analysis to the meeting. They have never fought a species from a death world, she explained. Most alien species come from calm planets with gentle weather. Earth kills humans every day through nature alone. We have bacteria that can eat flesh. We have viruses that can wipe out millions. We have animals that hunt us. We survived all of that and became the dominant species. They do not understand what that means. The room went quiet as everyone understood. Earth had made humans into survivors. The aliens were about to learn a hard lesson. For 2 days, Earth prepared. Weapons were moved into position. Ships launched into orbit secretly. Soldiers said goodbye to their families. Minho barely slept. He spent hours reviewing alien ship designs and looking for weaknesses. They are too confident, he told Jiwon over a late-night cup of coffee. Their shields are strong, but their engines are exposed. Their weapons are powerful but slow to recharge. They build for show, not for real war. How do you know they have never seen real war? Jiwon asked. Because they gave us 2 days to prepare, Minho answered with a cold smile. A real warrior strikes fast or not at all. They wanted us to be afraid. They wanted us to suffer waiting for them. That is the mistake of bullies, not soldiers. The 48 hours passed. In space above Earth, Velthar ordered his fleet forward. 300 warships began moving toward the planet. Each one was the size of a city. Their weapons could burn continents. Their shields could stop nuclear missiles. The humans are not even trying to evacuate their cities, one alien officer reported. They are still in their homes. Fools, Velthar said. They do not believe we will actually attack. They think this is still a game. Fire a warning shot at their moon. Show them we are serious. A beam of energy lanced out from the flagship. It struck the lunar surface and created a crater visible from Earth. The message was clear. Surrender or die. On Earth, Minho watched the explosion on his screen. Around him, other officers tensed. They waited for the order. All units, the general's voice came through the speakers. The enemy has fired first. Rules of engagement are now active. Show them what humans do to invaders. Minho felt a grim satisfaction. The aliens had made their choice. They had called humans weak. They had threatened Earth. They had fired the first shot. Now they would learn the truth. In the cold silence of space, hidden weapons platforms powered up around the moon. Human ships that had been disguised as debris suddenly activated their engines. Soldiers who had trained their whole lives for combat they never expected gripped their weapons. The aliens thought this would be simple. They thought humans would break easily. They thought Earth was weak. They were about to discover that humans did not break. Humans bent until they found leverage, then they broke everything else. The war was beginning, and Earth was ready to teach the galaxy a lesson about underestimating Death World species. Admiral Taejin stood in the command center buried deep inside the moon. The walls around him were gray rock that had been carved out decades ago when humans first started preparing for threats from space. Now that preparation would be tested. Enemy fleet entering engagement range, reported Officer Daehyun from his sensor station. The young man's voice was steady, but his hands shook slightly on the controls. 300 ships. They are moving slowly. They think they have already won. Taejin studied the holographic display floating before him. The alien ships were massive and beautiful in a terrible way. They looked like crystalline structures that caught the light of the sun. But Taejin had been a naval officer for 30 years. He knew that pretty ships often died first in real combat. Status of our hidden platforms? He asked. All systems ready, Daehyun answered. The aliens have scanned this area 3 times. They see nothing. They think the moon is empty except for a few research stations. Taejin allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had better technology for scanning, but humans had better technology for hiding. Every weapons platform had been covered in moon rock and designed to look like natural formations. The aliens were looking for obvious military targets. They would not find any until it was too late. Air wings, report status, Taejin commanded. Eagle wing ready, came a woman's voice. Pilot Yuna commanded the first squadron of fighters. Her ship was small, fast, and armed with weapons the aliens had never seen. We have been waiting a long time for this, Admiral. I know, Taejin said. Remember the plan. Speed and aggression. Hit them hard, hit them fast, and do not stop moving. They are bigger than you. They are stronger than you. But you are meaner than them. Understood, sir, Una replied. We will show them how Earth protects itself. In her cockpit, Una ran through her final checks. Around her in the formation, 20 other fighters waited in the shadow of a crater. They had launched hours ago and drifted into position with engines off. The aliens had no idea they were there. She thought about her family back in Seoul. Her parents were probably watching the news right now. Her younger brother had tried to join the Space Force, but he was too young. He had cried when she left for this mission. She promised him she would come back. That might have been a lie. Una knew the numbers. Human ships were smaller and weaker than alien ships. In a fair fight, the aliens would win, so humans would not fight fair. All wings, this is Admiral Tajin. The voice came through her headset. Light them up. Around the moon, 100 hidden platforms suddenly powered up. Hatches that had been covered with moon dust for years opened. Inside each platform, weapons that could crack mountains locked onto alien targets. The first volley caught the aliens completely by surprise. Massive energy beams originally designed for mining asteroids slammed into alien shields. Nuclear-pumped lasers, illegal in every peace treaty humans had ever signed, burned through armor plating. Railguns firing metal slugs at incredible speed punched holes in engines. 15 alien ships died in the first 10 seconds. Their shields collapsed. Their hulls burst. Debris scattered in all directions. All wings engage. Taijin ordered. Una's fighter roared to life. She pushed the throttle forward and felt acceleration crush her into her seat. Her ship screamed toward the alien fleet at speeds that would kill most organic beings. Humans had built these fighters to go fast, and they had trained pilots who could survive the forces involved. Eagle Wing, follow my lead, Una shouted over the radio. Pattern Delta. Her squadron spread out as they approached the alien formation. The aliens were trying to respond, turning their big ships to face this new threat. But turning a ship the size of a city took time. Time they did not have. Una flew straight at the nearest alien warship. Weapons fire from the alien filled the space around her. Red energy bolts streaked past her cockpit. Warning alarms screamed. She ignored them all. She had trained for this. Fear was just another thing trying to kill her, and she had learned to ignore things that tried to kill her. At the last possible moment, she dove under the alien ship and released her entire payload of missiles. They were small missiles, not enough to seriously damage something so large, but they were not aimed at the hull. The missiles struck the alien ship's engine ports. Explosions rippled across the back of the vessel. The alien ship began to drift, its power failing. Target crippled, Una shouted. Moving to next target. Behind her, other pilots copied her tactic. They flew like insects around the large alien ships, too small and fast to hit easily. Every pass left alien vessels damaged or dead, but the aliens were adapting. Their weapons began tracking faster. Their shields adjusted to human weapon frequencies. And there were so many of them. Eagle 3 is hit, a voice screamed over the radio. I am losing power. I cannot. The transmission ended in static. Una gritted her teeth. Eagle 3 had been her wingman, a kid named Dongyun who told terrible jokes. Now he was gone. Keep fighting, she ordered her squadron. Make them pay for every one of us. In the Lunar Command Center, Tajian watched the battle with a tactical eye. Humans were winning, but at a terrible cost. For every alien ship destroyed, 3 or 4 human fighters died. The numbers were not sustainable. Phase 2, he ordered. All surviving platforms coordinate fire on the flagship. This was the moment of truth. If they could kill the alien commander, the fleet might break. If they failed, Earth would lose its best weapons. Every remaining weapons platform turned toward Velthar's massive command ship. The flagship had shields powerful enough to withstand sustained bombardment. It would take everything they had. Fire, Tajian commanded. Energy weapons from a dozen platforms converged on a single point. The alien shields glowed bright white as they absorbed impossible amounts of power. For 10 seconds, nothing seemed to happen. The shields held, then slowly they began to fail. The glow turned from white to yellow to red. Cracks appeared in the energy field. Keep firing, Tajian shouted. Pour everything into that shield! One platform overloaded and exploded. Another ran out of power. But the remaining platforms kept firing. The shield collapsed. Alien hull armor, designed to withstand normal weapons, met Earth's fury. Beams of energy burned through metal. Explosions rippled across the flagship's surface. The great ship began to break apart. Inside the flagship, Velthar held onto his command chair as the ship shook. Alarms were screaming. Officers shouted reports. Nothing made sense. How could primitives do this? All ships retreat, he commanded. The words hurt to say, but survival mattered more than pride. Fall back beyond the moon's orbit. Yuna saw the alien fleet beginning to turn away. They were retreating. The massive warships that had come to conquer Earth were running. Pursue, she heard Admiral Tajin's voice. Do not let them regroup. Sir, half our fighters are gone, Yuna reported, her voice hoarse. We are low on fuel and ammunition. I know, Tajin said quietly. But if we let them recover now, they will come back stronger. Chase them until you cannot chase anymore. Then come home. You have all earned rest. Yuna looked at her fuel gauge. She had enough to pursue for maybe 10 more minutes. After that, she would be drifting and hoping someone picked her up before her air ran out. Eaglewing, you heard the Admiral, she said. One more push. Let us send them home crying. The remaining human fighters charged after the retreating alien fleet. They were outnumbered now. They were damaged and tired, but they were humans, and humans did not know when to quit. In the command center, Taijin watched his people chase the enemy. Daehyun was reading casualty reports with tears running down his face. Over 60% of their fighter pilots were dead or missing. All but 3 weapons platforms were destroyed or offline, but the alien fleet was broken. They had come expecting easy victory. Instead, they had learned that humans were willing to die to protect their home. More importantly, they had learned that humans were very good at killing. Send a message to Earth Command, Taijin ordered. First engagement complete. Enemy retreating with heavy losses. Request relief forces and recovery teams. He paused, then added, also tell them that humanity drew first blood today. The aliens thought we were weak. Now they know better. Hours later, Yuna guided her crippled fighter back toward the lunar base. She had one engine barely working and no weapons left. But she was alive. Around her, she could see debris from both sides scattered across space. She thought of Dong-Yun and the others who had not made it. They died protecting home, she whispered. We all knew the price. As she approached the landing bay, she saw other fighters limping back. Some had holes in their hulls. Some were trailing atmosphere. All of them had fought beyond what should have been possible. When she finally climbed out of her cockpit, mechanics rushed to check her ship. It was so damaged they would probably scrap it for parts. Yuna did not care. She had done her job. Admiral Tajin was waiting in the bay. He looked old and tired, but he stood straight as Yuna approached. Good work, pilot, he said simply. Yuna saluted. Just doing what humans do, sir, surviving. Tajin nodded. The aliens are regrouping beyond Mars. They will come again. But now they are afraid. They did not expect us to hurt them. They did not expect us to be willing to sacrifice so much. General Hyunwoo walked through the underground facility that stretched for miles beneath the mountains of Korea. The walls were concrete and steel, built to survive nuclear war. Now they would serve as humanity's last fortress if the surface fell. Around him, soldiers trained with weapons both conventional and strange. In one room, teams practiced with flamethrowers that burned with chemicals designed to stick to alien armor. In another, specialists loaded biological containers onto delivery drones. This was not the clean war of space battles. This was the ugly, desperate war of survival, en route. The science team is ready for your inspection, said his aide, a young lieutenant named Borum. Hyunwoo nodded and followed her deeper into the facility. They passed through 3 security checkpoints, each one requiring biometric scans. What lay ahead was too dangerous to risk exposure. Dr. Yunji waited for them in a laboratory sealed behind thick glass. She wore a full containment suit even though she was separated from the actual specimens. Through the glass, Hyunwoo could see rows of containers holding various samples. General, Yunji's voice came through the intercom. Thank you for coming. I need to show you what we have discovered. The aliens? Hyunwoo asked. Yes, sir. We recovered bodies from the battle at the moon. We have spent every moment since then studying their biology. She moved to a display screen and pulled up images. The aliens come from what we call paradise worlds. Stable climates, gentle weather, few natural predators. Their evolution happened in comfortable conditions. Hyunwoo studied the alien anatomy on the screen. They were tall and thin with multiple limbs. Their skin looked smooth and delicate. They look fragile. They are, Yunji confirmed. Compared to humans, their bones break easily. Their immune systems are weak. They have never needed to be tough because their worlds never challenged them. She pulled up another image. This is Earth classified by galactic standards. We are a Class 12 death world. What does that mean? It means Earth is one of the most hostile planets known for supporting complex life. Our weather kills thousands every year. Our diseases have wiped out entire civilizations. Our predators evolved alongside us, forcing us to become smarter and more dangerous. Even our bacteria are aggressive. Yunji pointed to a container. That holds common E. coli. On Earth, it lives in our intestines harmlessly. In aliens, it acts like a flesh-eating disease. Hyunwoo felt something cold settle in his stomach. You are telling me our planet makes biological weapons naturally? Exactly, Yunji said. But we can do better than natural. We can weaponize it. She moved to another display. I have developed 3 different pathogens specifically targeting alien biochemistry. They are not lethal to humans, but to aliens they are deadly, fast-acting, airborne, and nearly impossible to defend against without advanced knowledge. How do we deploy them? Hyunwoo asked. Commando teams infiltrating alien ships, aerosol release in their ventilation systems. They will never know what hit them until their crew starts dying. Yunji looked at him through her faceplate. Sir, I need your authorization to move forward with this. What I am proposing is biological warfare on a scale never attempted before. Hyunwoo thought about the reports from the lunar battle. Over 3,000 pilots and crew dead. The aliens had come to conquer Earth. They had threatened humanity with extinction. Now they were regrouping to try again. You have my authorization, he said. We did not start this war, but we will win it by any means necessary. If they wanted a clean fight, they should have stayed away from Earth. While Yunji prepared her weapons, Hyunwoo returned to the command level. Intelligence reports showed the alien fleet rebuilding beyond Mars. They were receiving reinforcements. Velthar was preparing for another assault. But this time he would not underestimate humanity. That made what came next even more important. Begin Operation Pandora. Hyunwoo ordered his command staff. Operation Pandora was simple in concept but complex in execution. Humans would take the fight to the aliens using Earth's greatest advantage, the ability to survive anywhere. Small teams of commandos would infiltrate alien ships and bases, carrying with them diseases and weapons designed to turn the aliens' own environments against them. The first team launched 3 days later. 6 soldiers wearing captured alien uniforms approached a supply station orbiting one of Jupiter's moons. The station was massive, designed to refuel and rearm the alien fleet. Among the team was Corporal Jinwoo, a special forces operative who had volunteered knowing he might not return. He carried in his pack 3 canisters of Yunji's bioweapons and enough conventional explosives to destroy a city block. Remember the briefing? Their team leader whispered over the secure channel. We look like supply workers. We move slowly. We act like we belong. Once we are inside, we have 20 minutes before shift change. The station's docking bay opened for them. Their stolen shuttle, taken from a damaged alien ship, passed every security check. The aliens were not looking for infiltrators. They could not imagine primitives being bold enough to attack them here. Jinwoo stepped onto the station and forced himself to walk normally. His heart pounded. Around him, real alien workers moved cargo and conducted repairs. They were tall and graceful, nothing like the heavy build humans needed to survive Earth gravity. The team split up according to plan. Jinwoo headed for the environmental systems. 2 others went to the fuel storage. The rest moved toward the command center. He found the ventilation access exactly where the captured alien technical manuals said it would be. Using tools that felt awkward in his human hands, he opened the panel and reached inside. The canisters attached to the air circulation with magnetic clamps. He set the timers for 10 minutes and moved to his next target. Somewhere in the station, alarms began blaring. Someone had discovered the team. Jinwoo ran. Abort, abort! The team leader's voice cracked over the radio. Detonate early and get to the shuttle! Jinwoo pulled the remote detonator from his belt. He could hear alien guards coming down the corridor. They shouted in their clicking language. He did not need to understand the words to know they were calling for his death. He pressed the button. The explosives went off first. The station shook as fuel storage erupted in massive fireballs. Hull breaches opened to vacuum. Aliens not wearing emergency suits died instantly. The bioweapons released silently. Invisible particles spread through the ventilation system. The aliens who survived the explosions breathed in death without knowing it. Jinwoo never made it to the shuttle. An alien guard shot him in the back as he ran. He fell, feeling his life leaving him. His last thought was that his sacrifice meant something. Earth would survive. 5 members of his team escaped. They brought back recordings of the station's destruction and samples of alien technology. More importantly, they proved that humans could strike anywhere. Over the next week, similar attacks happened across the alien supply lines. Stations went dark. Ships reported mysterious illnesses spreading through their crews. The aliens began to realize they were fighting an enemy that did not follow the rules of civilized warfare. On his command ship, Velthar reviewed the reports with growing horror. Entire crews dead from diseases that appeared from nowhere. Stations destroyed by saboteurs who fought without regard for their own lives. Supply lines collapsing because no one wanted to serve where humans might strike. "They are like a plague," one of his advisors said. "They infect everything they touch." "No," Velthar corrected. "They are the plague. We thought we were fighting soldiers. We are fighting survivors who have learned to turn everything into a weapon." He pulled up Earth's classification again. Class 12 Death World. He had seen that designation before but ignored it. Now he understood. Every species that evolved on Earth had to be tough or die. The entire planet was designed to create killers. How do we fight this? Another advisor asked. Velthar had no answer. His species fought with honor. They gave quarter to defeated enemies. They followed rules that made war bearable. Humans had no such rules. They fought to win, and they did not care what methods they used. He had seen reports of human soldiers who kept fighting even with mortal wounds. He had heard about pilots who crashed their ships into alien vessels when they ran out of weapons. He had learned about civilians who chose death over surrender. "Maybe we cannot fight this," Velthar admitted quietly. But admitting defeat was not possible. His government demanded victory. The coalition of species that had joined the invasion could not accept that primitive humans had stopped them. They demanded he try again, so Velthar planned his next attack. This time he would not target military bases. He would bombard Earth's surface from orbit, destroying cities until the humans surrendered. On Earth, General Hyunwoo received intelligence about the aliens' new strategy. They were going to attack civilian targets. They thought that would break human morale. "They still do not understand," Hyunwoo said to his staff. "Attacking our cities will not make us surrender. It will make us angry." He was right. When news of the alien plan spread, something changed in humanity. The initial fear from the invasion disappeared. Now there was only cold rage. Every human understood that the aliens wanted to commit genocide. Every human understood that surrender meant death. Captain Soo-hyun guided her stealth ship through the asteroid belt with practiced skill. The vessel was small, barely large enough for her crew of 12, and it was painted matte black to absorb sensor scans. Every system was designed for one purpose: hunting alien ships without being detected. "Contact bearing 270, reported Navigator Mireille from her station. "Single alien transport looks like a supply run between their fleet and their mining operation on Europa." Soo-hyun studied the tactical display. The alien ship was large and slow, designed to carry cargo rather than fight. It probably had minimal weapons and a small crew. "An easy target. Too easy," she muttered. "Ki-hyun, run a deep scan. Make sure this is not bait." Engineer Ki-hyun worked his controls, sending out passive sensors that would not alert the alien ship. After a moment, he shook his head. "I am reading standard transport signatures. No hidden weapons. No escort ships within sensor range. They are alone. They are getting careless," Mirai observed. "That is the third solo supply run this week. They think the asteroid belt is safe." Soo-hyun smiled grimly. The asteroids had become human territory through blood and cunning. In the months since the first battle, human ships had learned to use the belt like ancient submarines used the ocean. They hid among rocks the size of mountains and struck without warning. "Prepare weapons," Soo-hyun ordered. "Ki-hyun, I want that ship disabled, not destroyed. I want its cargo, and I want prisoners who can tell us where the rest of their fleet is hiding." The crew moved efficiently through their tasks. They had done this dozens of times. The alien ship grew larger on their screens, completely unaware of the danger nearby. "Firing solution locked," Ki-hyun reported. "Fire." 2 missiles launched from hidden tubes. They used cold propulsion that made them nearly invisible until impact. The alien ship had no time to react. The first missile struck its engine, sending a spray of metal into space. The second hit the communication array, cutting the ship off from any help. "Boarding team, go," Soo-hyun commanded. 4 soldiers in armored suits launched from the stealth ship. They crossed the distance quickly and attached to the alien hull. Cutting torches flared. Within minutes, they had forced entry. Inside the alien transport, crew members panicked. They were supply workers, not soldiers. When armed humans burst into their cargo bay, most of them froze in fear. The boarding team secured the ship within 10 minutes. 3 aliens were detained. The rest escaped in life pods that human ships would pick up later. Soo-hyun did not want to kill unnecessarily. Dead aliens told no stories. Frightened ones spread rumors. "What is in the cargo?" Soo-hyun asked as her team transmitted inventory. "Food supplies mostly," reported the boarding leader. "Also some sort of medical equipment and what looks like personal effects. I think this was carrying supplies for their command staff." "Perfect. Take everything. Rig the ship to explode on a delay timer. I want any rescue team that finds it to know humans were here." While her crew worked, Soo-hyun reviewed intelligence reports from other stealth ships. The pattern was clear. Alien supply lines were collapsing. Ships traveled in convoys now, wasting fuel and time on escorts. Stations demanded heavy security, tying up soldiers who should be fighting. Humans had changed the nature of the war. Instead of fighting fleet against fleet, they were bleeding the aliens with 1,000 small cuts. It was the kind of warfare Earth had perfected over centuries. Guerrilla tactics, ambushes, and psychological pressure. "Captain, the prisoners are asking to speak with you," Mirai reported. Soo-hyun made her way to the small holding area. 3 aliens sat on the floor, their long limbs folded awkwardly in the confined space. They looked terrified. One of them, wearing marks that indicated senior rank, spoke through the translation device. "Please do not kill us. We are not combat personnel. We are just supply workers." "I know what you are," Soo-hyun said calmly. "I am not going to kill you. I am going to let you go." The aliens looked confused. Their intelligence surely told them humans rarely took prisoners and never released them. "You will be taken to a neutral location and given a life pod," Soo-hyun continued. "You will tell your commanders what happened here. You will tell them that nowhere is safe. You will tell them that humans can strike anywhere, anytime. Do you understand?" The senior alien nodded slowly. "Why are you doing this? Why not just kill us?" "Because dead aliens do not spread fear," Soo-hyun answered. "But you will. You will go back and tell everyone what happened. You will make your people afraid to leave port. That is worth more than your deaths." It was a cold calculation, but it worked. Every captured alien returned with stories of human ruthlessness and skill. The stories grew with each retelling. Soon, aliens believed humans could appear from nowhere, strike without warning, and disappear like ghosts. Engineer Ki-hyun had his own contribution to the war effort. He had been studying captured alien technology and combining it with human weapons. The results were terrifying. "Captain, I have something to show you," he said after they had released the prisoners and destroyed the transport ship. Ki-hyun pulled up a simulation on his screen. "I have figured out how to weaponize asteroids using their own mining equipment. We can attach engines to large rocks, set them on course for alien positions, and they will look like natural drift until too late." Soo-hyun studied the simulation. "How much damage are we talking about? A rock the size of a building moving at orbital velocity? It would hit with the force of a nuclear weapon, and we can launch hundreds of them." "Do it," Soo-hyun decided. "Choose targets that will hurt their supply lines. Make sure they cannot predict where the rocks will hit." Over the next weeks, asteroids began falling on alien positions throughout the solar system. Mining bases disappeared under impacts that released more energy than any conventional weapon. Ships at anchor were crushed by rocks they never saw coming. Stations had to move constantly to avoid the random-seeming bombardment. But it was not random. Navigator Mirai was directing the attacks with surgical precision. She had studied alien behavior patterns and discovered they followed predictable protocols. They gathered in certain formations. They anchored at specific distances from planets. They moved on schedules that made sense for their biology. "They are too organized," Mirai explained to Soo-hyun. "They fight by rules. They follow doctrine. It makes them efficient but also predictable. We just have to think like them, and we can always be one step ahead." Soo-hyun trusted Mirai's analysis. Time after time, they arrived at locations just as alien ships were passing through. They set traps where aliens would surely come. They predicted retreat routes and placed mines along them. The aliens called it luck. Mirai called it understanding the enemy better than they understood themselves. Not every mission succeeded. Soo-hyun lost ships and crews. Some stealth vessels disappeared without trace. Others were caught in ambushes when the aliens finally adapted. But for every human ship lost, 5 alien vessels died. The mathematics of attrition favored Earth. Humans could build ships faster. They could train crews quicker. And most importantly, they were fighting in their own solar system with supply lines measured in millions of kilometers instead of light years. Commander Velthar watched his fleet shrink week by week. He had started with 300 capital ships. Now he was down to less than 200, and many of those were damaged. Repairs were slow because supply shipments kept disappearing. "We cannot continue like this," his logistics officer reported. "At current loss rates, we will be unable to maintain offensive operations within 3 months." "Then we need to force a decisive battle," Velthar decided. "We still outnumber the human fleet. If we can catch their warships in open space, we can destroy them." But the humans refused to fight that battle. Every time Velthar maneuvered his fleet into position for a major engagement, the human ships scattered. They were faster and more maneuverable. They disappeared into asteroid fields and planetary shadows. They only fought when they had every advantage. "They are cowards," one of his captains complained. "No," Velthar corrected. "They are smart. Why would they fight us where we are strong when they can attack where we are weak? We would do the same if we were in their position." That admission hurt. The aliens had always prided themselves on fighting with honor. They met enemies in fair combat. They followed rules that made war civilized. Humans had no such pride. They fought to win using every dirty trick they could invent. They mined shipping lanes. They used false distress signals to lure in rescue ships. They released debris clouds to damage pursuing vessels. They did things that would have made any civilized species ashamed. Maybe that is why they are winning, Velthar thought. They are not trying to be honorable. They are trying to survive. Captain Suhyun received new orders from Earth Command. The guerrilla campaign was working better than anyone had hoped. Now it was time to expand operations into alien-controlled space beyond the solar system. "We are going deep," she told her crew. "Past Jupiter, past Saturn. There are alien staging areas in the outer system. We are going to burn them down." The crew understood what this meant. They would be far from support. If something went wrong, no rescue was coming. But they all volunteered anyway. This was what they trained for. Agent Jinho crouched behind a pile of debris on Mars, watching the alien patrol pass below his position. The red dust of the planet coated everything, including the alien occupation force that had seized the mining colonies 3 months ago. Jinho had been hiding in the ruins ever since, leading a resistance that made the aliens regret ever setting foot on Mars. He was not alone. Across the planet, small groups of humans conducted raids, sabotage, and attacks that kept the aliens in constant fear. The occupation force had started with 5,000 soldiers. Now it was down to 3,000 and the rest jumped at shadows. "Team 2 in position," whispered a voice in his earpiece. That was Sangho leading a group on the other side of the alien compound. "Team 3 ready?" came another voice. That was Hieri, a mining engineer who had turned her knowledge of explosives into a deadly skill. Jinho waited until the patrol was exactly where he needed them. Then he pressed the detonator. The ground beneath the patrol erupted. Shape charges buried days ago tore through alien armor. The patrol scattered in panic. Some died instantly. Others screamed into their radios for help. Help never came. Jinho had cut the communication lines hours earlier. "Move in," he ordered his teams. From 3 directions, human fighters emerged from hiding. They wore no uniforms, just whatever clothes they had found in the ruins. They carried weapons taken from dead aliens mixed with human firearms. They attacked with a ferocity that terrified their enemies. The fight lasted less than 5 minutes. The aliens, trained for formal warfare, had no response to this kind of brutal ambush. Those who survived retreated into their fortified base, leaving their dead behind. Jinho and his teams disappeared back into the ruins before reinforcements arrived. This was the pattern. Strike hard, strike fast, and vanish. Never let the enemy get comfortable. Never let them rest. Back on Earth, broadcaster Hana sat in a studio buried deep underground. In front of her were screens showing captured alien communication networks. Through careful hacking and the use of salvaged alien technology, humans had infiltrated the enemy's information systems. "Ready for broadcast in 3 minutes," said her technician. A young man named Juwan who had once worked for a news network before the war. Hana reviewed her script one more time. This was psychological warfare at its finest. The footage they had gathered would break alien morale better than any weapon. Recording in 3, 2, 1, Juan counted down. Hana began speaking. The computer translated her words into the alien language in real time. To the soldiers of the invasion fleet, you were told that humans are weak. You were told this would be an easy conquest. But you have learned the truth, have you not? The screen behind her began showing footage. Alien ships exploding, alien soldiers retreating, alien bases burning, all of it recorded by human forces or captured from alien communications. Look at what we have done to your mighty fleet, Hana continued. You came here with 300 warships. How many do you have now? How many of your friends have died in the darkness between planets? How many have suffocated when their ships were breached? How many have burned when we turned your own weapons against you? More footage played. This time it showed human fighters ramming alien ships. It showed commandos infiltrating stations. It showed the faces of aliens dying from bioweapons, their expressions frozen in terror and confusion. We are not the victims here, Hana said, her voice cold and steady. You are. Every day you remain in our solar system, more of you die. Every night you wonder if you will see another sunrise. You cannot sleep peacefully because you know we are coming. You are the prey now, and Earth is the predator you awakened. The broadcast ended with a simple message in the alien language. Leave now, or die here. We will give no more warnings. Juan sent the broadcast through every captured alien communication channel. Within hours, it was playing on screens throughout the alien fleet. Velthar tried to have it blocked, but it kept appearing. The humans had inserted it so deep into their systems that removing it would require shutting down essential communications. On the alien flagship, Velthar watched the broadcast with sick dread. The footage was real. Every explosion, every death, every defeat. His soldiers would see this and lose what little morale they had left. Who authorized releasing combat footage? He demanded of his staff. Sir, that footage is not from our archives, an intelligence officer reported. The humans recorded it themselves. Some of it is from external cameras on destroyed ships. Some of it is from captured recorders. They have been documenting their victories to use against us. Velthar closed his eyes. These humans understood warfare in ways his people never had. They knew that destroying the enemy's will to fight was as important as destroying their weapons. They knew that fear could paralyze an army more effectively than casualties. Worse, the broadcast was working. Reports came in of alien soldiers refusing to leave their ships. Some were requesting transfers away from combat zones. Others were simply abandoning their posts. Sub-Commander Raxel, who had served with Velthar for many years, came to his quarters that evening. The younger officer looked exhausted, his skin pale and his movements slow. I cannot do this anymore, Raxel admitted. My soldiers are breaking. I had 3 desertions yesterday. 2 more tried to harm themselves rather than face another day of this. They are terrified, and I cannot blame them. We are soldiers, Velthar said, trying to sound strong. Fear is natural in combat. This is not natural fear, Raxel countered. This is something else. My people have nightmares about humans. They imagine seeing them around every corner. One soldier shot at a shadow yesterday, convinced it was a human infiltrator. It was just a maintenance robot. Velthar had heard similar reports from across the fleet. The psychological pressure was crushing his forces, and the humans kept adding to it. The broadcast was just the beginning. Over the following days, new messages appeared on alien systems. Sometimes they were videos of alien prisoners being treated well, encouraging surrender. Sometimes they were lists of casualties, accurate down to individual names, showing that humans knew exactly who they had killed. Sometimes they were just sounds, human laughter, human music. Human voices speaking words the translation computers could not decipher. The message was always the same. Humans were everywhere. They knew everything, and they were toying with their prey before the kill. Agent Jinho received a new mission from Earth Command. He was to capture an alien officer for intelligence purposes, but the method was specific. They did not just want a prisoner. They wanted the capture to be witnessed and remembered. Jinho chose his target carefully, a mid-level commander named Thexil, who led patrols through the Mars mining colonies. The alien was competent but not exceptional, perfect for what Jinho had in mind. He spent a week studying Thexil's patterns. The alien was cautious but predictable. He always took the same route back to base after patrols. He always had the same number of guards. He always checked in at the same times. On the 8th day, Jinho set his trap. He placed his teams in positions along the route. When Thexel's patrol passed, nothing happened. The alien relaxed, thinking the area was clear. Then Jinho activated the surprise. Hidden speakers began playing sounds, human voices whispering in the darkness, human footsteps echoing through the ruins, human laughter coming from everywhere and nowhere. The alien patrol panicked. They fired at shadows. They called for backup. They broke formation and scattered. Jinho's team struck from every direction at once, but they did not kill. They used weapons designed to stun and disable. Within minutes, Thexel was alone, his guards either unconscious or fled. Jinho walked out of the shadows and stood before the terrified alien officer. "You are coming with us," Jinho said simply. Thexel tried to run. Jinho shot him with a stunner. When the alien woke up hours later, he was in a human base, tied to a chair with a camera pointed at his face. "What do you want?" Thexel demanded. "I want you to tell your people the truth," Jinho answered. "I want you to tell them what it feels like to be hunted by humans. I want you to describe the fear you felt when you realized your guards were gone and you were alone with us." "I will tell them nothing," Jinho smiled. "You do not have to. We already recorded everything. Your panic, your screaming, your begging. We have footage of your guards running away in terror. We will broadcast it to your fleet so they can all see what happened." Thexel's face went through several colors as he understood. He had not just been captured. He had been humiliated. His entire capture was designed to break the morale of every alien who saw the recording. "Why?" Thexel asked. "Why go to such trouble? You could have just killed me." "Because dead soldiers become martyrs," Jinho explained. "But frightened soldiers spread fear. You are worth more to us alive and scared than dead and honored." The recording of Thexel's capture was broadcast 3 days later. It showed everything. The aliens panicking at sounds, the guards abandoning their commander, Thexel trying to run and being caught easily. The footage made the mighty invasion force look weak and incompetent. Alien morale collapsed. Soldiers refused assignments to Mars. Commanders struggled to maintain discipline. Some units reported soldiers harming themselves to avoid combat duty. The psychological damage was worse than losing a major battle.